with people that maybe you only see once or twice a year, only at the retreats, and you get caught up on their lives, and, you know, just being out with nature that you don't normally get to experience. It's more about that part of the experience than about a bunch of lesbians getting together.
So you mentioned music. So what would you say then the role of music has been in the group and the importance of, you know, women's music?
In the beginning, it was very important. That seems to have fallen off some. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe certain people that were the big promoters of music are not so involved with Herland anymore, perhaps. That could be. But that was a big part of the retreats in the beginning, was bringing someone in who was the Saturday night talent, and that was a lot of fun to be able to be in that small and intimate of a setting with someone and buy their album, and then every time you listen to the album you remember that. And then we had concerts here too.
And so you had them out in the back?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And you created a CD too as well, the Dust Bowl CD?
You know, I was not involved with that, but I do remember that. Mary and Rhonda.
I'll have to contact them about that as well. Is that for Herland?
Well, it's a gathering. It's a time of coming. Now, I notice that's a lot more integrated now than it was in the beginning. In the beginning, it was definitely more of a woman's space, and now it's whoever goes to Bride comes here.
So now I'm going to get to the more, I guess, philosophical, or are there any other bigger conflicts that you can remember, or things that it was difficult to come to a consensus about?
I do remember some conflict about people who would like come into this house and feel like that they could maybe be sexually active or be in stages of dress or undress, and other people being very uncomfortable with that. And I do remember some conflicts of that, and trying to make maybe rules of conduct, and then realizing that that's really not what we're doing. You know, can't you imagine how difficult it is to try to create a safe, free space for everyone, and everyone is so different, and what that means is so different.
Go for it.
Well, you can imagine how difficult it is to create a safe and free space for everyone, because we're all so different. And if you feel like that to be free to do what you want to do includes drinking and smoking pot or taking off your clothes, and then me, if I'm in recovery, or that makes me very uncomfortable, or it triggers something in me, then that doesn't feel very free or safe to me. So, do I have the right to infringe on your freedom to do those things? It's a difficult thing to maintain, I think.
Do you feel like that was ever resolved?
Oh, I don't think it was totally resolved, but I think that it was part of the balancing act. And I think that there is this kind of ebb and flow of it, and according to who had a stronger voice at that time, and you know, and then there would be someone, I am so sorry.
That's okay. I was like,
You know, and you have people that push the envelope, you know, people who, you have everyone that's kind of in this mainstream of things, and then you have this person who does this, and everyone's like, really? But do you have the right to tell them they can't do that?
well, do you?
I don't think so. I mean, but then it goes back to, if you have this person who was triggered by nudity, say, okay, and then this person undresses, well, they have the right to do that, but then it triggers this person. So is this a safe space now for that person? Well, no. So what do? Consensus, right? So it's and I think that that's one thing that has been beautiful about Herland, is that, you know, she has faced those struggles and dealt with them, and sometimes in a contentious way, and sometimes, you know, but I think the basic philosophy has always been a safe space.
Excellent. So, what do you think the significance?
Well, I think early on, this is something I've struggled with recently. I think early on, it was important to have an example of a strong women's organization. And it was important to have an alternative to the bars, as I've said. When Herland came about, there was a great need for what Herland was and is. And now, things are different. So I struggle with Herland can't stay the same and survive. So, you know, I've said an unpopular thing at a board meeting of, you know, I think we're going to have to change and become relevant to today and what's needed today, or we're going to have to respectfully put her to rest. And I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know what the best way. I'm so thrilled to see this happening, because she'll be preserved, and that's important.
She will, for sure. And you talk about being a larger community.
Well, one idea that I have is that perhaps she can address some issues of the aging community. We haven't been very successful in encouraging the younger generation to come and be involved. And I don't know, is that because Herland has a reputation of being the old dykes, you know, the old feminist dykes, or is it that, I mean, what is it? Or is it that now the new generation doesn't need a separate space? Because now, if you're coming out now, you can just be out. You can just go to Bricktown and go hang out. And you don't need a separate space to go be. So I wonder if we could do something to address the issues of an aging community. Of chronic illnesses, of diabetes, or you know, HIV and AIDS. The issue all around that has certainly changed over the last couple of decades. So I don't know, you know, what do we do to stay relevant? That's the question.
Well, you've done some.
Well, for me personally, it gave me a safe place to land whenever I came out. And that was really important. And when I think of women or the feminine, the capital F feminine, I think of a soft, nurturing entity. And for the most part, that's been my experience with Herland. A place to be welcomed and enveloped and corrected at times and shocked at times, but all in a safe environment. And I don't think I'm the only one.
So then where do you see, Herland, you talked about being relevant or changing focus. Do you think Herland will be around in 10 years? Will this house still be here? Will there still be board meetings, or do you see it all changing completely?
In my heart, I would say no. I feel like Herland is something of the past. That hurts to say that, really, but that is what it seems to me, and it would take a transformation, I think, for Herland to be relative now, and I'm not sure that that's something that can happen. I have a lot of respect for the people who are still on the board and struggle and make things, and I think that as long as they're there and their energy makes it happen, then yes, this house will still be here and Herland will still be Herland. But how much longer can that happen?
And I think you bring up some really important points and things that I was thinking about the documentary or the book that I hope to write, which is, I was talking with Ginger about it, and this idea of community and what is a community and how much it's changed from when Herland first started to now, and the importance of something like the bookstore. And now you can get these books online, but then I have the question too, what is gained and what is lost? Because I think there's something also lost there as well. And so maybe just closing out, and you can tell me, what do you think has been gained from the changes that you've been talking about during this interview, and also then what has been lost?
Well, I think what's been gained is a certain normalcy in my life, and I think the allowance to be yourself more, I think, is a good thing. Just a moment, there was something that I thought of just a second. As marriage equality was coming about, and all of these changes that have happened over certainly the last 10 years, one thing that has occurred to me, and I've talked with other people about, is in some ways I wonder if we as a community, as an LGBTQ community, how much do we really want those changes? Because I think there's certain of us, I don't necessarily feel this way because I want those changes. I want to live my life just open like everyone. But there is a certain pride and a certain excitement of being part of a fringe group and an underground and something that not very many people get and not very many people are a part of. And so that is certainly something that we've lost or are losing, because being gay is not really, it's not anything so unusual now, So So I think that that's something that's been lost, but to me, what's been gained is so much more profound and so, I don't know, more encompassing. I think it's worth it.
Rachel wants to know. Is there anything else that you would like to say that you want us to know about Herland? Anything that I left?
I believe that Herland has played an important role in Oklahoma City of creating not only a safe space, but a particular kind of safe space for women to explore themselves in a way that is nurtured and celebrated, that certainly is something that you don't get in a greater community. You know, here it is celebrated to be a woman.
Does anyone else have any questions you'd like to ask?